that included service in Vietnam, Korea, Germany, Hawaii, and at the Pentagon. His many honors included the Legion of Merit, Bronze Star with Valor, Purple Heart, and Combat Infantryman Badge. He was a graduate of the Infantry Officer Cadet School and the Army War College. After retiring from the military, Vaughn became a radio host on WBMC, wrote a long-running column for the Southern Standard, and served as president of Bob White Music. For more, subscribe to www.mainstreetjournal.llc. With the news, I'm Justin Reed.
Discover the Warren County Senior Center, located in the 3-Star Mall on Sparta Street. Our center offers a vibrant space for seniors to engage in fun activities, make new friends, and stay active in the community. Open Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. We offer a variety of services tailored just for older adults. Join us and be a part of a supportive, lively community. Call 931-473-6559 for more information. See you soon.
Tonight, it's going to be mostly clear skies with a low around 48, perfect for moonlight and mellow vibes and stargazing. Tuesday, it's going to be sunny skies with a high near 74. Fun fact, ever notice the sky looks bluer on clear days? That's because there's less moisture and dust in the air, so sunlight scatters more cleanly, giving us that deep, dreamy blue. Pilots actually use this clarity to spot storms from miles away. Until next time, keep shining. This is Tisha with your weather.
I stopped off at the Quick Sack for some beer and cigarettes. The old man took my money.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Behind the Mic with Chad Graves. Thank you for that.
Oh, is that what show we're on?
What? Why are you here?
Well, my name's Justin Reed, and I was told I have a new show on WBMC. Is this not the time slot either?
No, this is not the right time slot.
So
but,
it's not at 9, because I was here this morning for that show, and that was wrong.
That's right.
And it's not Mondays at 5. Okay.
No. So what day is your show, and what is...
Well, I was really hoping today was Friday, because my show's on Friday.
So on Friday...
But it's not Friday.
So Friday at 5?
At 10 and 5.
10 and 5.
Yeah, double dose for one low price.
Excellent.
So it's called The Good News.
The
We'll have
Good
some
News.
positivity.
What's it about?
Good news.
Oh. Good
A
news.
magician doesn't reveal all his secrets. This is not even my show to tell secrets on.
Well...
That was George Jones, by the way.
So can I tell
intro.
you some good news?
I'm ready for it.
David Stinson has some outstanding jewelry for your mom.
For my mom.
Yes.
Has
for
my
your
mom's
mom.
name on it.
Yes.
Well, that's convenient.
For any mothers out there or guys that need Mother's Day gifts, you should go see David Stinson at Diamond Jewelry, and he will...
That's where this came from.
Yeah. David has taken care of me and my jewelry needs for many years, and he does an outstanding job.
Yes, he does.
He knows exactly what we need. And I don't know if our guest Stacy Harvey here has been to see David at any point in time.
My wife does. I learned a long time ago I don't really buy jewelry. I just pay for it.
Yeah, that works too. Well, y'all can sort this out. Thanks to Jamie. I've got to go since this is not my show.
Well, I'm glad
but
that
I'm
you
going,
stopped in.
I'm going to turn you on the radio and listen all the way back home.
Well, thank you, Justin.
Okay. Bye.
All right. So as Justin stopped in, he has a new show that starts on Friday called The Good News, and it will be a collection of good news stories that happen in our local community and also in, I guess, other parts of the country as well. But Justin likes to be able to bring good news to us. But our primary guest today is Stacy Harvey. And Stacy is a local entrepreneur. He's been part of this Warren County community for his entire life. I think he told me his dad grew up here as well. Is that right?
Yeah, well, mom too.
Mom too?
Everybody.
So Stacy has
grandparents, great-grandparents.
Wow. So
back a long way.
You have been a part of this community for a long time. He is the owner of Warrior Precast. It's which I have in my home. It was
Yes, you do.
a Superior Walls product.
That's
Is that
correct.
right?
That's correct, yes.
So, and I know a lot of houses around here, but also a lot of houses just around the country use these types of walls.
Yeah, we do. We don't do a lot of work in Warren County because there's just not that much of the kind of work that we do. But we service Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Kentucky, northern Georgia, northern Alabama, all of Tennessee. I don't go really to Memphis that much. I don't have enough guns. I don't have enough guns to go out there, but and then southern Kentucky.
Well, it's a good product. Obviously, it has done very well in my home. And you've got quite the operation out there on Highway 70.
Well, we're working on it.
Yeah.
Every day.
So, and Stacy was a former McMinnville alderman, and I wanted to briefly mention about whenever at one point in time there was a vote about property rights voters, because I live out in the county, but I own property in the city. And that allows me the ability to be able to vote. And at one point in time, there was something on the table that made it a little more difficult for property rights voters to vote, but it made it a little easier for people in the office to do the administrative work. And I called Stacy and I said, Stacy, shouldn't this be easier for the property rights voters to vote? It's like it kind of feels like it's a little bit backwards here.
Well, you were smarter than I was.
Well, but Stacy came back and he voted to add this extra step for the property rights voters, but then came back the next month and changed and said, "Hey, we need to change this."
Well, I mean, how it was explained to us from the Elections Commission. It was logical. It made sense. And I think that everybody's reluctant to change anything to do with voting. But, I was convinced, and, the majority of the board was as well. But I reserved the right when we took the vote, like, hey, the election's coming. So if we do this, and it was property rights voters for all of the incorporated areas, which would have been McMinnville, Morrison, Viola, and Centertown. I believe that's correct. And I'm kind of fuzzy on the specifics on that, Chad, but it was either when we had these elections, they had to keep one machine out there in each precinct for that, and it made it kind of problematic for the Election Commission to track all these individual property rights voters, and they wanted to centralize that. I believe that's correct. So you had to go into your city and cast your city ballot, and then where you had property rights, you had to cast property rights there. So I heard, and I didn't anticipate this. I didn't anticipate people that live in McMinnville that own property in Centertown, or people that live in McMinnville that own property in Morrison, having to come here and vote. And I may have that totally backwards, but it was one or the other. It was either they were putting machines out in the precincts or they were bringing them in. And I think they were turning it into one central location for property rights voters. And I just used the caveat and the mayor agreed that if it doesn't work, I reserve the right to bring this back up under new business and rescind the city's approval. And the way that it was put forth is that if the city of McMinnville did not approve it, it would not happen anywhere. And so we did it for one cycle, and then within 45 days, we'd rescinded it. Now it's that way, it's the way it has been, to my knowledge.
Well, and I was just going to say that I appreciated that, hey, you said I got this wrong whenever I voted the first time, but I, wanted to go back and fix it and make it right. And every one of us makes wrong moves on daily basis, right?
Yeah, multiple ones for me daily most of the time.
Well, but I just appreciated you coming back to the city and saying, "Hey, look, guys, we need to bring this back up and rethink how we did this."
Well, I gave my word to some folks that met me outside on the sidewalk, and they said, we really think this is going to be worse. And I looked at them and I said, I promise you, if it is, I'll rescind it. I'll do everything I can to get it rescinded. And they were there at that meeting when we rescinded it, and it went back, and every one of them shook my hand and said, thank you for being a man of your word. And I said, well, that's really all we have.
Well, I appreciated it. So, Stacy, you are known in the community as a conservative. So I think that if there is a conservative, issue, you seem to be in the middle of a lot of the. I'm not saying in the middle of them, but you have generally taken a stance to be a conservative. Would you agree with that approach?
I would agree that I would agree, yes, but I don't know if I've been accused of being more libertarian than conservative by some of the folks in town, and so I don't really know. I just know I'm not a liberal Democrat. That's what I'm not, and so I can be, maybe it's a libertarian, maybe it's Republican. I'm a member of the Republican Party in town, and I just don't want to be messed with, and I don't want to mess with other people.
Understood. So, what would you consider as your, I guess, guiding principles? It's like what makes you who you are?
The truth.
Just the truth.
That's it. And not mine, the
truth.
The truth. And so if it's true that certain circumstances are allowing certain people to take advantage of other people, then we have to remedy those certain circumstances that allow those things to happen. And a lot of times the hardest thing to get to in the world is the truth.
It is.
It's a never-ending quest.
It is. So I guess at what point in your life did you kind of did you make the choice to say, you know what, I realize that this is kind of my guiding principles?
Oh man, I don't think that I ever made the choice. I think the choice was made for me, and it seemed that every time, the harder I looked for something, the more elusive it was. And it just seemed that when I would focus on finding out the truth in any issue, in any matter, that's where the most rewards came from. And so one day I was in the middle of some business discussion, and then I just remember looking up and going, that's it. That's who I am. And so, that's it. It wasn't it was call it divine inspiration if you want to, because I feel that's what it was.
Well, so whenever you decided to get into to politics, is that what was sort of driving you to get into politics?
Absolutely, because I was sitting on the sidelines complaining about everything that was going on, and I thought, you know what, I can either get in there and mix it up with them, or, I can sit over here and complain. So I thought I'd get in there and mix it up, and boy, I did. I got in right when COVID started, so that was, we mixed it up.
Yeah. Well, so whenever we come back from this break, we're going to talk about something that you probably didn't expect us to talk about. You and I had a conversation about homelessness in McMinnville, and I want to go into a little bit of deeper conversation about that with you.
Sure.
So after the break, we'll come back and talk with Stacey Harvey about homelessness here on Behind the Mic on WBMC.
Ocean tides, can I handle the seasons of my life?
Get ready for the ultimate Cinco de Mayo celebration at Las Trojas Cantina, the home of the legendary Margarona. All-day drink and food specials, free T-shirts, and here's the twist. You could be our 300th or 500th guest and win a surprise giveaway. Gather your crew and head to Sparta Street for non-stop fiesta vibes. Cinco de Mayo at Las Trojas Cantina, May 5th. Don't miss it.
Need a pick-me-up? Start your day at the Cafe at Tree City. Open daily from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. They serve rich, bold espresso, pulled to perfection. Pair it with one of their delicious treats for the perfect combo.
Their skilled baristas are passionate about crafting your perfect cup, whether it's a classic latte or a refreshing cold brew. They've got your coffee cravings covered.
Short on time? Order ahead for quick pickup or curbside delivery. Your fresh coffee is just a sip away.
The Cafe at Tree City, your go-to spot for expertly crafted espresso drinks. Wake up, sip up, enjoy.
At Redmond's Carpet, they offer a wide range of flooring options to suit your needs. Whether you prefer the softness of carpet, the durability of hardwood, the versatility of tile, or the affordability of vinyl, we've got you covered. We also offer luxury in vinyl plank, LVP, for those who want the look of hardwood with added durability. Serving McMinnville since 1969, Redmond's Carpet, 2512 Old Nashville Highway. Call them at 931-668-4900 for your next flooring option. Redmond's Carpet.
This is Chris of Reddick Brown Ford in Morrison, where we believe buying a car should be simple. No hassle, no pressure, just honest deals and friendly service. From test drive to drive home, we make the process easy because our customers come first. Need service? We've got you covered with our complimentary pickup and delivery. Reddick Brown Ford, where the customer comes first and business is done the easy way. Simple, honest, and for you. Visit us in Morrison or online at reddickbrownford.com.
Warehouse Discount Grocery, serving McMinnville and Warren County with the best meats, freshest produce, and the best prices on all your favorite groceries. Check out these specials. Fresh 73% lean ground beef family pack, $3.49 a pound. Preferred Angus beef New York strip steak family pack, $8.99 a pound. And boneless chuck steak, $5.99 a pound. Be sure to check out the full-service deli featuring meats from Charter Reserve. Open 7 days a week at 835 Smithville Highway. That's Warehouse Discount Groceries, or WDG.
Make the places you care about more comfortable and energy efficient with TVA Energy Right. It all starts at EnergyRight.com, where you can find everything you need to lower your energy usage for your home or your business. Contact Caney Fork Electric Energy Advisors Dale or Chris at 931-473-3116 or go to EnergyRight.com to start living and working more energy efficiently. Caney Fork Electric along with EnergyRight.com for all your energy needs. Brought to you by Caney Fork Electric Cooperative and TVA.
And welcome back to Behind the Mic with Chad Graves. I'm here with my guest, Stacy Harvey, who was a former McMinnville alderman. And Stacy, before we get into our discussion about homelessness and McMinnville, so is there someone sort of on the left? Because I feel like you are a little bit of an intellectual when it comes to
there are many that would disagree with you.
Well, but it seems to me that you do some research on the topics that you have discussions about. There's someone that's, I guess, on the left that would equal your research that you have respect for about different topics.
I mean, I interact with all kinds of people all over, and one of the things that I like is just to be able to have mutual respect. And there's probably some people out there choking on their cough drops right now coming from me. But one of the things that I've learned is that if you can't talk, nothing's ever going to get resolved. So I have some good friends that are liberal. We go out and shoot guns and enjoy our Second Amendment rights and talk about things that we want to talk about. We just don't talk politics. We just leave the politics to the wayside.
So is there anyone in McMinnville that, because I would like to have, someone on that kind of, thinks a little bit, I like to have all different types of people on.
Well, I don't, so the next statement I'm going to make is this individual, I don't know for sure if he would be the opposite of me, but I know he's an intelligent guy, and he likes my dog. So, and my dog likes him. So that says something. I would think it'd be John Parton.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think John is a super guy. He's a good friend of mine, and I think he would actually be an outstanding guest.
I loved his dad. I mean, his dad was so cool. And John, he has knowledge. He's a very well-educated guy, but he has knowledge in all kinds of areas, especially the areas that we're going to broach here today.
Yes, he is extremely knowledgeable, and I think he'd be an outstanding guest as well. So I'll try to get him lined up in the next couple of weeks.
That'd be great. So,
Stacy, you and I had a conversation, I guess it was back around the fair time, about a growing homelessness population in McMinnville.
Right.
And it seems like... and I'm not exactly sure why it continues to grow in McMinnville. And the first question that I had is I've heard rumors about other cities busing in homeless people into rural areas, like as in Smithville and DeKalb, and here in McMinnville. Is there any merit to that?
Well, so I can tell you that there was a large problem during COVID because the way I understood it, nonviolent offenders were being released by the State Department of Corrections. And they were being released. If they were in Metro Nashville, they were being released. And what was happening is that they were being pushed out further from Nashville. I can remember my wife and I around Christmas time during one of the COVID years. I don't remember which one, but I remember down around Rivergate. And Rivergate was infested with homeless folks there, and I was really, really shocked. And that was because the police department of Metro Nashville had pretty much routed them out of downtown due to tourism. And so they pushed them out into Rivergate. And I think around that time, it was just kind of a ripple effect. So there were so many nonviolent offenders that were released. And again, this is my personal recollection of that. And Chris Stanford or Jackie can call and tell me I'm wrong, and I'll accept it because this is, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. But so they were dropped in those larger cities and then pushed out. And as they were pushed out, there were some that were moved around, and we did have quite a few drop in here. My wife and I, for a couple of Thanksgivings before we ended up having to travel for when kids got out of college, and then we'd go see them, we would go deliver meals with home, and I got to learn a little bit about what was going on. We would deliver Thanksgiving meals with them, and so I got to learn a little bit about them, about the people and why they were the way they were, and if they were trying to step up or if they were just happy. So there was a lot of magnetism here in that area because of the community that was taking care of these folks, and I believe that those folks that are taking care of those folks need to be commended. And there are other conservative folks, you hear me, Scotty, within this area that think that we're enabling them, and I think that that's a fine line, And I think that if you're going to help somebody, sooner or later you're going to enable somebody, but you don't want to not help the guy that you could be the guy there to help him. My wife and I were down in Costa Rica a couple of weeks ago, and we had a impoverished fella come up. We were going into a breakfast place and needed some money to eat. So I had the native currency there is called colones, and I had about 5,000 colones, and that's about $2.50 in coins. And so I just gave it to him, and we watched him. We went in to eat, and we watched him work everybody around there. And then later that day, we were going from one town to the next and saw him walking down the road. So he's just working from one town to the next, to the next, to the next, doing the same thing. So, that guy could as well have come into the breakfast place that we were eating at and bought his own food, but he didn't. I could have went and bought him food, but I didn't, because we've done that. And we've had that. We actually had a guy in Richmond, Virginia. My wife went in and bought him food and gave it to him. And he said, "I'm not eating that. That's vegan," and threw it down on the ground. And so I've stopped doing that. And, my wife was a softie, and when he needed some money, I gave him some, and that made her happy. And that was more for her than for him. But I showed her, I'm like, "Look, Deb, do you see what he's doing?" So he's not, if he wanted to eat, he could have came in here and got something to eat. He's just making money.
Right.
That's it. But
so you were enabling.
In that instance, yes. But you could have just as been easily that $2.50 American, 5,000 colones Costa Rican currency could have been the difference between starvation for that guy and him surviving. So you just don't ever know.
You're right. So, and that is the argument that I hear all the time is like you're enabling, but it's also, but you are also helping someone that really needs help.
Well, I'll tell you what I've personally started doing. Especially around here, I've personally started seeing these people that are holding signs. I give them a business card, and I said, "Here's my address. You come out here. I'll put you to work. I'll pay you in cash every day. So you won't be standing out here holding a sign. You're going to come out here and you're going to make at least $100 a day."
Has anybody taken you up on that offer?
One guy worked one day. One guy. And I've done that a lot. One guy worked one day.
So Stacy, one of the things that you told me in our conversation back in the fall was the idea, of course, this is just a thought, is buying a hotel and housing homeless vets or different types of homeless people,
mothers with dependent children. Yeah, we talked about that, and I thought that was a great thing. I really did. And then we have a mutual friend that could help with that kind of stuff, and he was all in. And then I got to looking around a little bit more, and all you would be doing at that point, at that particular place, I think there were 60 rooms in that place, and over 50 of them were full-time residents. And so if you bought that hotel and displaced those 50 residents to move 50 homeless people in, all you did was make 50 more homeless people. Mm-hmm. And so when I remember having that realization, and I'm like, wow, what, that's not going to do it. That's not going to do it. Because I never thought that there were people living in hotels at extended stay. I just didn't. I was such an amateur that I hadn't realized that those hotels are occupied by people. That's their house, man. So you can't just buy one and move them out and move somebody else in. You haven't helped anybody.
Right. So you've just given housing to 50 homeless people, but you created 50 more.
That's correct. And those people were they had it going on. They had a home. That they were happy in, and now I've come in and with my do-gooder shirt on, and I did bad, and that's not what I would set out to do. And it was very humbling to realize that it was that deep.
So is there an answer to the homelessness problem in? Let's just talk about McMinnville.
Well, I don't know about McMinnville. I just know what's worked in other areas and the research that I've done, and it's going to take a lot of support from the community to get that done. I think there's an answer, but I don't know that we have the local support to get that done, unfortunately.
Well, I think there's more to this conversation, and after our break, we'll continue this conversation. But we have a question about psychedelics, and I think that you have some information here that may be a surprise. So
probably so.
All right, we'll be back after the break on WBMC Behind the Mic with Chad Graves.
Talk Radio, WBMC News is next.
I'm Rob Nunley, Editor-in-Chief of the Main Street Journal. When you want the stories that matter to you, the Journal's bringing all the local coverage you crave, and we're bringing it straight to your screen every day. If you want to stay in the know about local politics, sports, events, and more, the Journal's experienced staff of reporters is your go-to source. So visit mainstreetjournal.llc to subscribe today for unlimited access to all our local content. Check out the Journal. Once again, that's www.mainstreetjournal.llc. Subscribe now.
The Main Street Journal News. A celebration of life with full military honors was held on Sunday at Highs Chapel for retired Army Colonel Thomas B. Vaughn, 86, of McMinnville, who passed away on April 22nd. The service was officiated by Jack White and Paul Roberts. Vaughn was one of Warren County's most decorated military veterans with a distinguished career that included service in Vietnam, Korea, Germany, Hawaii, and at the Pentagon. His many honors included the Legion of Merit, Bronze Star with Valor, Purple Heart, and Combat Infantryman Badge. He was a graduate of the Infantry Officer Cadet School and the Army War College. After retiring from the military, Vaughn became a radio host on WBMC, wrote a long-running column for the Southern Standard, and served as president of Bob White Music. For more, subscribe to www.mainstreetjournal.llc. With the news, I'm Justin Reed.
Ascension St. Thomas River Park is here to listen to you because caring for you is our number one priority. Ascension care teams start by understanding you, your health, and your life to deliver care that's right for you. Now offering cardiac CT angiography services, a non-invasive cardiac exam that looks at the blood vessels that supply blood to the heart and can detect if plaque has narrowed the coronary arteries. The compassionate, personalized care you've come to expect is right here in McMinnville. We're more than just a hospital, ER, and a clinic. We want to give you hope, health, and strength.
Tonight, it's going to be mostly clear skies with a low around 48, perfect for moonlight and mellow vibes and stargazing. Tuesday, it's going to be sunny skies with a high near 74. Fun fact, ever notice the sky looks bluer on clear days? That's because there's less moisture and dust in the air, so sunlight scatters more cleanly, giving us that deep, dreamy blue. Pilots actually use this clarity to spot storms from miles away. Until next time, keep shining. This is Tisha with your weather.
Welcome back to Behind the Mic with Chad Graves. I'm here with my guest Stacey Harvey. Connor is good at all his song choices.
Absolutely.
But Stacey, before the break, we were talking about homelessness in McMinnville, and I wanted to just ask, is there a solution to improve the situation of homelessness in McMinnville?
Well, first thing that I want to say, Chad, is that I believe that there is, but I'm no expert on it. I mean, the folks that run home, they're the ones, the homeless outreach McMinnville effort. Home being the acronym for that. They're the experts on that. And anything that I know as stuff that Bill Davis and Sheila Fan and Tina Higgins have taught me and helped educate me on that. And then also the independent research that I did while I was trying to dig into that issue, because I really wanted to fix that. And, I don't know that there's a surefire way to do it. But there's a surefire way to help part of it. But I think that there's different buckets of homelessness. So there's buckets of people that are unfortunate and down on their luck. Okay, that's a bucket. But then there's a bucket of people that are that way because they want to be that way.
They choose to
yeah, just like you choose to live where you live, and I choose to live where I do. Hope that wasn't something.
Yeah.
But anyway, they choose. They choose this life, and you've got to separate those buckets, and then you've got to help the ones that you can. And Jack Welch used to have this theory. He said, and I don't think it's bad. Jack Welch, former chairman of GE, and his thing was that you classify your folks in thirds. You've got your upper third, middle third, and lower third. You constantly you support your upper third. You constantly try to motivate your middle third to move them into the upper third, and the lower third you just get rid of. And I'm not advocating getting rid of homeless people, but I'm advocating that lower third, those folks are making that choice. They should be excluded from being enabled to be that way. And I believe that home, in my experience with them, would do welfare checks on them just to make sure that they're okay. But they weren't really pouring resources into those folks that just wanted to be that way, because it's hard for me to fathom that people actually want to be in that situation. But I saw it with my own eyes, and it's you just have to respect their choice.
Right. So, and during the break, we were talking about if you stopped helping those people on a macro level, there is likely going to be additional crime, because when people are hungry, they will find a way to eat.
Well, I mean, there's really nothing. They say a pack of what do you think they call them? A pack of wolves. I mean, wolves get in a group and they go hunt. And I'm not trying to belittle any human. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to draw a comparison, because we as humans are animals,
right?
And we have certain needs that have to be met. And I really think that we'll cause a lot of unintended circumstances if we do that. But how we handle those different buckets, and I mean, this is a community-wide effort. It's going to take a lot of people getting outside their comfort zone, and a lot of people doing things that they probably don't agree with, or supporting things that they probably don't agree with, and pouring resources into classifying these people into these buckets, and then identifying the ones that need a hand up, and then the ones that just want a hand out.
Right. So you had mentioned it's taking care of housing. Housing is number one.
Well, one of the studies that I read was done by the city of Phoenix, Arizona, and their answer was housing first. And it was very simple, the way that they put it forth. He said, imagine coming home from work and you have nowhere to take your shoes off. You have nowhere to hang your hat, your coat, nowhere. You have no bed to sleep in. You have nothing. Let's just imagine that for a minute. And so I try to do that. I try to sit back and put myself in the shoes of a person that was suffering in this way. And it would be just cataclysmic on a psychological level. It really would, because home, man. Think about it. In baseball, there's home plate.
Right.
Even our most beloved sport has a home plate. That's intrinsic in being human.
Yeah, it's a place where you try to get back to.
Right.
Try to get back to home.
Well, look here. I'm in McMinnville, Tennessee. I ventured off to Florida and then to Texas, and I wanted to come back home.
Same here. Moved to Atlanta, but I wanted to come back home.
Yeah. So and home can be a community, and then you distill that down a little bit, and it's a place, and it's a place where good things are supposed to happen.
I totally agree with that, and we appreciate the people that are running home and how
Absolutely.
they are handling that. And obviously, they can always use additional resources.
Oh, absolutely. They can use additional resources. The city has been very kind to home. We gave them some property over by the old transfer station, and they built a few. They got a few houses built over there. James Hines, who's a county commissioner, was instrumental in getting that done. He worked with home. I believe there were several of the churches in town that would build. Like you see them, a lot of these people have these sheds in their backyard. They would build them and put them over there. And the codes people made some exceptions, and everybody gave something over there. Everybody that could gave something over there. And if they didn't have any money, they gave time, and that was just as important.
So have you noticed that the homeless population has grown here, or is it?
I feel like it's down from its peak after COVID. And I feel that, there was a time period where we would find a lot of homeless folks on the state right-of-way. And then there was a new statute that came in to where they couldn't be on the state right-of-way. And I can remember during my time on the board, there was one individual that my wife had tried to help. Woman, she didn't listen, over there by Corner Market. No offense, ladies. But, the highway patrol would have to come remove him. And he would just go he would move from this intersection to that intersection,
right,
and so on and so forth. But he didn't want to help. He just sat out there by the rock with a sign, wanted people to bring him some money and some food. I don't see that anymore here. But that doesn't mean that they're not out in the county. Now, I've been told that they're more into the county than the city. That just as what I spoke about earlier about how they got pushed out of downtown Nashville, I feel like probably our city police department's done a pretty good job pushing them out of the county. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the sheriff and I had a conversation about this a couple of years ago, because my dad had some stuff stolen from his place, and that's what he told me. He's like, we're seeing this more out in the county right now. And I do know that when the leaves were off the trees, and as I was driving around Warren County, you could see little encampments that were tucked back away. So I feel that they're not less, they're just less obvious.
Right, and just spread out a little bit more into more of the rural areas.
Yes.
So, moving on to a new topic here, and I know that there's a lot of talk in the media, and I guess the larger media about this is the topic of psychedelics and how this improves people's lives and just sort of the health benefits of things like this. Can you explain to us exactly what are psychedelics and what are some examples of this?
Well, sure. So this is the acronym for that's PAT, which is psychedelic assisted therapy. And psychedelic assisted therapy is something that's been going on for quite a while, but mainly outside the United States. And a friend of mine that was a special operations Marine, he was blown up 3 times in the same day in Afghanistan. 3. He had 5 TBIs. 3 times in one day, his armored Humvee was blown up by VB IEDs. vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices. And he was having some really hard times whenever he would stress out. He would have some pretty dark moments. And he told me one day we were fishing, and he said, "Hey, man," he said, "I've got this opportunity to go do this through a scholarship down in Tijuana." And he explained what it was. And I'm like, "Man, you got to go. I mean, like, when can you go? You got to go now," because I was worried about the guy. And so that started me on a journey of trying to understand, because that's what, that's who I am. I want to know about something. If it intrigues me, I want to know. So I saw him go and get his treatment and come back, and he was different. And then he ended up going back about 4 months later. So it's kind of like an onion. And so I decided to delve off in there myself, and I went to Tijuana and did that for a week there, and then came back and went to Costa Rica. I've been all over the world with this stuff, and if anybody that's known me longer than 3 years, they can tell you that I'm not the guy I used to be, and I'll attribute that to that PAT.
So what can you I guess describe like what this does and kind of how this helps?
Well, so to the best of my ability, okay. And again, I've done a lot of research on this. I constantly research on it because it's fascinating. Because all these things are natural substances. They all come from the earth. Most of them come from the Amazonian jungle, and they've been used there by indigenous tribes for tens of thousands of years. And they're all plant extracts. And so there are in the family, so to speak, there's mushrooms, which everybody's heard of mushrooms, and that's called psilocybin. And then there's iboga, that is a tree root bark extract. And then there is ayahuasca, and ayahuasca is a concoction of tree root and a vine. And then there is bufo, and bufo actually comes, believe it or not, from an amphibian, from a secretion from a frog. And so it's a frog that when it's attacked, it secretes this solution that keeps it from being eaten. And that has a psychedelic effect. And then after that, there's something called Cambo, which Cambo is, again, the same thing. It comes from the Sonoran desert frog, and it has a purgative effect. And then there is, I said bufo already. I think that's it. There's some synthetic versions of a couple of those. There's 5-MeO-DMT. That's the synthesized version of bufo. And there is ibogaine. That is a synthesized version of iboga. And so it would be how you would take cocoa and make cocaine from it. It was, how they would, I don't know how they do that, but that's basically the same process. You take something that's natural and you distill it in such a way that it has a different effect. But what they did for me is I believe that it helped me understand certain periods in my life that I couldn't understand at the time they were happening. And one of the things that I've known about just my own journey with this, because that's what it is that we all react differently to stress or trauma, especially prolonged stress or any emotional trauma that you have. But that doesn't, when we react, that doesn't mean that we ever process it. We just put it aside because life continues to come at us, and you can't process while you're experiencing. Mm-hmm. And it enables you to take a break from your experience and to process and to actually go back and see those instances. And I have friends that have seen rainbow-colored unicorns flying through the sky, and that's not been my experience, man. Not at all. It's not. I'm much more dark than that.
It's not the magic carpet ride.
No. Great lead and music, but no, that's not it. That's not it at all. And there's some great work going on in Texas right now. Rick Perry is pushing on this, former energy secretary under President Trump in his last administration. And Marcus Luttrell, everybody knows the story, the lone survivor. That's Marcus Luttrell. And Marcus Luttrell, my friend that I mentioned earlier that turned me on to this, have all gone down to Tijuana to a place called Ambio Life Sciences, where Trevor Miller runs that. And he's a Canadian that is located in down there. And he works primarily with PTSD and TBI veterans. And, I sponsor folks to go down there several times a year. And, it also helps with addiction. So it's very, very successful for addiction. That wasn't my trouble. Life was my trouble. And sometimes you beat yourself over the head with your own stick and don't even know it. That's
Right.
what I did
Well,
over and over.
So you're saying that you have helped to sponsor some veterans to go and actually get this treatment. And
Absolutely.
Seems to be a very effective treatment, from my understanding.
It is. It is a treatment, but you get out of it what you put into it,
Mhm.
and it's not take a pill and everything's great. It's not like taking an ibuprofen and your headache goes away. That's not the way it is. It's hard work.
All right. So we're going to take one more break, and then we'll come back, and we're going to wrap this up with Stacey Harvey here on Behind the Mic on WBMC.
I'm Kaden, I bake, and I love barbecue, and I grew up cooking with my daddy, and I want to learn how to cook like a Southern legend.
Caden, I was taught by my mother and father, Pal and Ina Rowland, how to do all sorts of legendary cooking.
Where's the desserts?
Kate, I've got desserts that when you eat them, you'll forget where you are.
Well, that sounds delicious, Newt.
Come taste the tradition and meet Caden, Newt's new sidekick on the mic. A new radio show is on the way. Newt's Barbecue in Rock Island, home of the legends.
It's the Ben Lomond Security Red Alert Special. Grab a free combination smoke, heat, carbon monoxide detector with your new Ben Lomond Security service. This is close to a $200 value for free. When anything is detected, the combo detector triggers all other detectors audibly and visually in the system to quickly alert your family or coworkers. Feel more secure at home or the office knowing that Ben Lomond Security works around the clock for you. For a free quote and design layout, contact your local Ben Lomond Connect office or visit benlomondconnect.com. Some exclusions may apply. License number 1560.
Come by Coffee Bank and Trust today and start earning better interest and better cash back on your primary checking account. Pair it with our Better Together Saver account and maximize your earnings. If you want better rates and better returns on your money, stop by and see us today at Coffee Bank and Trust, a division of Coffee County Bank, member FDIC.
Planning a move? McMinnville Moving and Storage has been trusted for over 60 years. Licensed, insured, and offering free quotes. Visit us at McMinnvilleMoving.com today. McMinnville Moving and Storage. Moving your past to your future.
Douglas and Lanier, that's where I choose to be. Douglas and Lanier, that's the agency for me.
For rock-solid insurance coverage or sound financial planning for my family's future, Douglas and Lanier is where I choose to call home.
Call Douglas and Lanier, your local Erie agents, at 811 Faulkner Springs Road, McMinnville, at 931-474-0044.
This is Chris at Reddick Brown Ford in Morrison. We believe car buying should be simple. No gimmicks, no pressure. Just the largest selection of new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs at the best prices. Our team puts you first, making sure your experience is easy, fast, and stress-free. Come see why more drivers are choosing Reddick Brown Ford. Because when the customer comes first, everything else falls into place. Visit us today or check us out online, reddickbrownford.com, where car buying is simple.
Why don't you head over to Chicken Chef and enjoy a fresh, made-to-order meal, or choose from the all-time favorite like the Chicken Nugget Dinner. Stop in for breakfast, order right off the menu with sausage, gravy, fresh homemade biscuits, or try their delicious tenderloin, egg, and cheese biscuit, just to name a few. Whatever your taste buds call for, you're sure to find it at Chicken Chef. They've been serving Warren and surrounding counties for over 40 years. Stop in today, Chicken Chef on the Strip in McMinnville. You can call your order in to go at 473-5020.
All right, welcome back to Behind the Mic on WBMC. So during the break, Stacey, we were talking about a Stanford study about some of these psychedelics and how it wakes up the brain. Can you expand on that?
Oh, yeah, man. This was fascinating stuff. So I was fortunate enough to meet a fellow when I was down there in Tijuana. That was 22 years. He was a Navy SWCC, which is a surface warfare combat crewman. So they're the guys that fight their way in to drop SEALs off and then fight their way back in to get the SEALs out. So these are kind of like the heroes of the heroes, you know. And he was part of this study that was put on by Stanford. Stanford is in Southern California. I don't know. Maybe it's in L.A. But anyway, so what they did is they took a control group of these guys, and they were all highly decorated combat veterans. that were having issues, random issues. And their names, if anybody follows the veteran community, especially the Special Operations Command veteran community, all of these names are names that you would recognize. I'm not going to say any of them, but I'm going to tell you that anybody that's popular in that was involved in this study. And so they took them up to Stanford. They flew them up there, and I believe this study was done in conjunction with the Marine Corps, because the Marine Corps wanted to study this. Okay, so they took brain imaging, and from what I understand, when people have TBIs, stuff like that, so basically the parts of the brain that are alive are lit up, and the parts of the brain where there's no activity are dark. And so they took these guys up. They did brain scans. They came down to Ambio in Tijuana, were there for 5 days, and they flew them right back to Stanford and repeated the exact same test. And their brain was lit up all over. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they called that neurogenesis, where they're actually were putting life back into parts of the brain that were non-functioning and basically effectively dead through this. So it was waking up receptors in the brain that were previously unable to be accessed by the human.
So seems like very positive studies so far. Obviously, there's more studies that need to be done, and I know that it's becoming more and more popular. Joe Rogan is talking about this now, and it just seems to be a
he knows Trevor. Trevor's been on his show.
Really, I didn't realize.
Yeah,
that.
Trevor. Yeah, Trevor's been on his show. This guy I'm talking about.
Yeah,
and it's interesting. It's a lot of people talk about it, but it's only legal, I think, in Washington State, Colorado, and the state of Florida allows some of that in a church environment. So, and the state of Texas is doing that. There's some trials at Johns Hopkins right now. UT Austin has been doing some, and I believe they're going to try to fund this through the government of the state of Texas right now. Those hearings were a couple of weeks ago, and so there's a lot going on with that, a whole lot. And man, it's restoring people that have given a lot to our country, and then it helps guys like me too.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's great. Obviously, there's positive benefits to this right now, and it's a little more studying has to go into it for the mass population.
Oh yeah.
So before the end of the show, I wanted to ask you another question.
Sure.
If you were the king of McMinnville.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And you had the full power to control all policy and had everyone at your fingertips. What is one thing that you would do in McMinnville?
Are you giving me complete carte blanche to do anything?
Complete carte blanche to do whatever you want to do.
Man. And you did this at the end of the show. You should have told me this at the beginning.
I know.
I could have had an answer by the end. I don't really know. I wish it was so simple that I could say just one thing, but there's just, what I would do? I tell you what I would. I would make it punishable by death to tell a lie. If you're an elected official, to tell a lie, a mistruth, a misdirect, or to be deceptive in any way whatsoever. And I would hook a polygraph up to every single elected official when they were at meetings to make sure that they didn't have personal interest involved in any decision that they'd make. That's what I'd do.
I think that's fair. Just ask for the truth is all that we should. I mean, it's all that we all should do is speak the truth.
That's it. But it's the truth that helps your wallet. It's the truth that helps your family. What truth are we talking about? We're just talking about the truth, not the selfish truth, the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would do. Because then when people said something, you'd know they weren't just telling you what you wanted to hear so they could get what they want to get.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do.
Well, that's pretty interesting. So I know that could be that's an issue in a lot of places, and likely there's some of that going on in every city, in every
Most definitely.
government in the entire country. So But Stacy, you are an outstanding guest, and you talk to us about things that you may not have expected to talk about on the show tonight, but I appreciate it.
I'm glad to.
And
Thank you.
Your deep thought on the homelessness issue is very much appreciated, and I think that I can tell that you do have some compassion there for the homeless and people with sometimes mental disabilities there that are homeless because of that.
Definitely.
So thank you again for coming on the show, and I'd love to have you back again if you're willing.
Well, yeah. I mean, just if you're going to ask me a big question, ask it at the beginning. Give me time to think about it.
Well, thank you, Stacy, and I hope you'll come back. And you've been listening to Behind the Mic with Chad Graves on WBMC.